Haters, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo están? Les doy la bienvenida nuevamente aquí al canal conmigo, su host, El Diablo. Les doy la bienvenida a su canal del Hater, a otra entrevista aquí en Conversaciones desde el Inframundo. En esta ocasión tenemos la gran fortuna de entrevistar a una leyenda del metal. Tenemos nada más y nada menos que al baterista de la bandísima que es Cirith Ungol. Tenemos aquí a Robert Garven. Robert, how are you? Thanks a lot for being in the Hater.
Muy bien, ¿y tú?
Great, man. Great. I'm great. Thanks a lot for giving me the time to talk to you a little so all the haters, all the Latin American, Spanish speaking metalheads can get to know the people behind the projects and get a little more about the artists that they admire, that they are fans of.
I'm here for you.
Thanks, man. And without further ado, I will ask the first question I got for you. And this question is courtesy of no other than Udo Dirk Schneider and his son Sven Dirk Schneider. And the first question is, what is your favorite John Wick movie?
What kind of movie?
John Wick, you know the Keanu Reeves movie, the series, the saga. Maybe you don't watch that
Oh,
because
John Wick?
yeah,
John
Wick.
John Wick
Yeah,
with all the gun shooting?
yeah, man, exactly that one.
Well, that's funny because we played with Udo Dirk Schneider at Bakken. We played right before him, and then Judas Priest played after. Uh, that's funny. I don't know. I just saw the last one the other night, 4, and
Okay,
I think I like that one. You know what? The whole time I love the Matrix and a lot of those shows, but the John Wick shows I watched them, and it kind of struck me as, wow, there's a lot of gunfire in
yeah,
these movies. You know, it's like, and
there's
then
more fire than dialogues.
what's sad was I was watching last night. I was flipping around the channels, and The Crow was on with Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee's son, who was
Yeah,
tragically killed by a gun going off too close to his head. You know,
yeah, man.
and I think in how not more people are killed in some of these movies.
Yeah, it
Uh,
just recently happened with Baldwin brother
yes,
movie.
yes, yes. But that was a real gun. You know, I'm just
Yeah,
thinking. But the John Wick movies, I was watching this and going, man. Actually, we played in France, and I was in Paris for a couple of days, so I saw some of the stuff where the scenes were. I'm
okay.
like, wow, man, this is and don't get me wrong, I don't dislike the movies, but it seems to me like over, you know, it'd be like a
Yeah,
Conan movie if he never stopped swinging the sword.
yeah, yeah, a little over the bar regarding the gun violence.
Hey, if I could ask, this is like a joke, but if I could ask a question going back to Udo, I'd ask him what's his favorite shampoo.
I think that will be a short answer, man.
I'm joking with you.
Yeah, yeah, man. That will be. I will try to reach to Udo or his son to ask them.
I'm one of the haters now. See, I'm one of you.
Yeah, yeah, just having a very healthy fun. And the other question asked by Udo, it's if you got one, what's your favorite autobiography by an actor or musician?
Well, you know that's kind of hard. I'm a Ferrari guy, so if you ask about any person, it'd be Enzo Ferrari. He's my hero right here. But
Okay.
but he's not an actor or a musician. You know what I would say is Ray Phillips, the drummer for Budgie. I recently read his autobiography, and it was very interesting. Budgie was always one of my favorite bands of all time.
Very influential.
I have a funny story about them. They were one of my favorite bands all time. Like a lot of the bands coming through the US, they played in LA. We played the Roxy the other night. We played the Whiskey before. They were playing in Whiskey Go Go. So we go down to see them, and we get there, and this is before the internet and
Yeah, man.
Ticketmaster and all that crap, right? So we go to buy tickets, and they were sold out. So they said, well, there's 2 shows now. one show starts at 8 or 9, and the other one starts at 11:30. So we bought tickets for that. So we sat out in the car. We'd been there since 1 in the afternoon. It's hot. We drove a couple hours from where we live up the coast to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
We go in there to see them, and it's Budgie, my favorite band, and they come out there playing Bread Fan, or one of my favorite songs by them. And waitress came around and we ordered a drink. And next thing I remember is someone was shaking me, going, "Hey, the show's over. You got to get up and leave."
Okay.
And so my favorite band of all time, I was so burnt out from all day long driving and sitting out in the parking lot. I somehow fell asleep during the heavy metal concert of my favorite band. And this is before anyone had earplugs either. So I don't even know how I did that.
You were so tired.
But to this day, it's me missing one of my favorite bands of all time because I was so burnt out or whatever. But anyway, Ray Phillips had and Bert Shelley, their bass player, just recently passed away.
Yeah.
Very sadly. But I read his autobiography, and I would highly recommend it to anyone else. Some funny stories in there too.
Yeah, man, I bet you have a bunch of them. I mean, because the life on the road, living of music, it has to be a very, very lucrative thing regarding anecdotes, histories, and experiences.
Yeah, one of the best ones. Let me share this one because it reminds me of the last 2 albums.
Yeah.
The joke is, on our last album, people say, "Oh, that's great." And I said, if we would have had 2 more years to work on it, it would have been even better, because we always wanted, to mix it down differently or do this or do that, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, there's 3 parts to this book. A guy wrote a book on Budgie, but then Ray Phillips had his autobiography. But when they were recording, I think it was In for the Kill, or maybe it had been their second album, Squawk, they had this little studio in Wales where, they all lived.
Yeah.
And the band was out in the van with all their equipment. They're getting ready to drive off to play a show in London or somewhere. And Bert Shelley was in there with the engineer, and they're trying to finish up mixing the last little bit of the album. And the guys out in the parking lot, they're honking on the horn, going, "Come on, we got to go." And they're in there going, "We're almost done." So it was kind of like, and I think that's how every band is. They feel like they wish they had that little bit extra time to finish something up, but before an album gets finished. So
yeah, man. Well, we always, in every aspect of our lives, I think we always are running out of time, because in most of the times we are having great time, so we don't want it to end. But unfortunately, everything has to end, and there is more time than life, so we need to carry on.
I agree totally.
Yeah, man. Thanks. The next question I got for you is this one. Writing and performing music that projects such raw and realistic vision usually comes at the expense of seeing or going through some ugly and difficult shit in life. Do you guys think it's worth the pain just to be able to create this kind of music?
I don't know. I would say that maybe when the band was first together, because we were struggling, we were swimming against the tide the whole time. Yeah. Since the band got back together, we had like a nice little band room. We had a recording studio right nearby. The record company, Metal Blade Records, we never had a record company that was so nice to us. We go, "We want to put out a record." They go, "Okay, we'll put out your record." It's like, we'll put out a live album, anything. And in every album, the packaging will be really beautiful, So, but I say yes, if you look at the world around you, we all are consumers of the news, whether it's a climate collapse, war in Europe, war in the Middle East, people suffering, dying of diseases. And, I think our band, we dabbled with some of our earlier music with doom rock. Our song on Metal Massacre 1 was called Death of the Sun.
Mm-hmm.
It was Brian's first album on Metal Blade Records. It was about the end of the world. We had a song Doom Planet, War Eternal, and some of our other albums. So I think we'd experimented using that genre of metal before. But I think in the last couple of albums, the world around us has been so nightmarish that our music has reflected that. And people have said, hey, is Dark Parade, because it was written during the pandemic, is it darker than it would have been? And I don't necessarily think so, because Forever Black was very dark, and we finished that. It was released the day the pandemic hit. And I think we were already on a path, at least for the second side of our last three albums, are all consistently very doomy and gloomy, into the world, into mankind, all the happy stuff.
Yeah, man, I think maybe your music is a reflection of the times we're living in, certainly. And we are living very dark times in some aspects, very fun and enlightened times in others. But there is something that always have catch my attention from your music, and it's the rawness, the honesty, the some might say the pessimistic approach, but I will call it the truthful, the very honest approach of all the themes, all the things that you talk about in your music. And I love that. I love music that reflects the reality of the world we're living in, and are not afraid. It's not afraid of talking about dark things, difficult things, bad things, because all of those are part of life. So why wouldn't be we speaking about that?
Yeah, and I think we have the ability to do that because we're not like a famous band. We're not like a big band. Like if we're Taylor Swift, they'd be saying, you got to write another, you have to write a hit to come out after your other hit, But we're just putting out music. Most of our albums were written for ourselves.
Yeah, man, and we all thank you for that.
But I mean, the fact that anyone like you or your listeners enjoy it or can actually understand what we were trying to create, to us is like icing on the cake, because we thought that, nobody cares about this other than us, but this is what we feel. This is the music. This is, this is the rawness. This is what our band is. And that's what shocked us the most. And I think that's why we got back together after being broke up for so long.
Yeah.
People went back and looked at our earlier albums, and the younger people that weren't even born when we broke up.
Yeah.
Rediscovered him. And I think that's my joke, is the last two albums will only be really popular 10 years from now.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they will only get better with time, because I think that's a very funny thing that happens with real great albums. In their time when they are released, some people get it, some people cherish them, but then time goes by and they become jewels.
Yeah, I wish we could live forever, because then we could have another comeback in 20 years and do this again. But
yeah, man, that would be great, but it's very unlikely.
You're right.
I got another one for you. Longtime bandmate Jim has just left the building due to health issues. Tell me, which is the thing that you guys, as a musician and as a person, will be missing the most of him?
Jimmy is a fantastic guitarist, and we're going to miss him. We created some great music over the years.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. A band is like a machine. It's a group of parts all put together. And if the parts aren't working together, for one reason or another, and all I can say is this, and you could go back and read the band statement, but we went through personnel changes before. Jimmy actually left the band before, right? So we've had people come and go over time, and it's always been painful and hard for everyone, but we've always come out on the other end stronger. And I think we're going to do that again this time, and I mean, it's none of this is happy for anyone, but I mean, that's how life works. And I wish I had more to say on that.
No,
all I know is his legacy will live on in our music, just like it will for all the rest of us.
Correct. I mean, I never expect some kind of answer for all the people I interview. Or contrary, I appreciate the honesty, really.
Yeah. Well, once again, I'd like to even be more honest, but I'm trying to be respectful both to him and to the band,
Yeah,
you
man.
know.
I get it. I get it. Thanks a lot for your words, man. If you don't mind, we will continue with the next question.
Yes, sir.
And it is the next one. In a recent statement, the band said, you say that the end is near, but not yet has arrived. What are the reasons behind being already thinking of calling it a day? I mean, I really appreciate the heads up because that way there is no way in hell I'm missing you guys if you come to town. But why now?
Well, I just turned 68 along with three other members of the band. And when we got back together in 2016, we never really wanted to get back together. We were kind of talked into getting back together. And, we agreed to, and we thought, hey, we'll play one or two shows, see what it's like. And it was like a snowball rolling down a hill. It started picking up snow, and we put out a single, then we put out a live album, then we put out Forever Black, Half Past Human, Dark Parade. And at the end of next year, it'll be 9 years since we actually reunited. And we were only together. Yeah, we were only together 20 years before we broke up the first time.
Yeah.
And I think what it is this last album is really strong. We played a show the other night, our album release party, and it's probably one of the better shows we ever played in the history that I remember. I'm the drummer, so I was firing on all cylinders. And so, to me, I judge every show on how good or bad I play. I know that sounds kind of weird, but that's how, and if I'm playing good, I felt like I was playing really good. So I guess the reason is at some point, instead of us going out as like kind of like a parody of ourselves, like a Spinal Tap or something, we're going to go out on top. So we're going to go out with some heavy shows, really powerful. Wish we had millions of dollars for, explosions and all that stuff, but it's just going to be guys on stage in blue jeans with music. But, we got the powerful album. We're going to have one final year of shows. And then I think that we can kick back and relax,
Yeah.
I've traveled all over the world, and almost every city I've been to, I've only been there like one day. And people always say, hey, when you were in France, did you see the Eiffel Tower? Or when you were in Mexico, did you get to go see, the pyramid or something like that? And it's like every time I'm like, I was only there one day.
Yeah, man. From the airport to the venue, and then to the other airport, and then so on and so on.
And traveling nowadays is really grueling, especially for people when you're older, carrying equipment, trying to move our equipment around.
Yeah.
Waiting for flights, going through security. So is this what really all of us want? No. We want to live forever. We want to be, we want to be like some fountain of youth, where we could drink it. We'd be 20 years old again and start from scratch. But that's not never going to happen. So I think this is the right decision. I really do. Now, I want you to know, and your listeners too, I haven't given up on, I still want to write some more music. Not everyone in the band is on the same page as me, because they want to go lay in the lawn chair in their backyard with a sprinkler on them or something, right? But I still want to create some more super heavy rock. And
that's great to hear.
Hey, the Beatles stopped playing live in 1964. Every one of their best albums came out after they stopped playing live. So
yeah, man.
Will this happen? I don't know. Will this happen? But that is my dream.
And it's a great dream, man, because just the fact that you're saying that the aim is to retire at your top, at your best, it's very ambitious in a good way, and I think all the fans will appreciate that gesture from you, because most of the bands, they don't really have a nice ending, and a legendary band like you, like Cirith Ungol, it definitely deserves an ending where all of the music, the quality, the concept is at its best. because that way we always be remembering Cirith Ungol as the legend that it is today.
I'll tell you a funny story. Tim, our singer, took his son Matthew to see Scorpion's last tour.
Oh,
when he was 10 years old, and he's 35 years old today, and Scorpions is still playing. So
yeah, and they
I don't think, yeah, we're not going to pull that same BS. You know, this is for us. You know, I think this is going to be, you know, we're being honest, but we also want to let people know, hey, come see us next year.
Yeah, man. Yeah, every band has their time, and we shouldn't compare one to another because everyone has a story, everyone has their issues. So the right time is the right time, and period.
Ready for my question for the next act.
I actually have a last question for you before we can kick your participation with your question for my next guest. And the last question is this one. Our Parade, it's an album for the ages. There is not a single thing with an expiration date on it. The music, the concept, the feeling, and the author honestly will only get better with years. Did you plan to make an album of that nature, or did it just simply happen because it is in Cirith Ungol's DNA to be that crude and unapologetic when it comes to speaking your mind?
Well, you may not like this answer, but we try to do that with every album.
Okay.
Going back at least to King of the Dead. You know, Frost and Fire was trying us to get a record deal, but from King of the Dead on, we're like, you know, we're going to pound this in. This is going to be the heaviest thing that we've ever done. And if it's our last album, you know, that's what we're going to rest on. And so that's how I hope there's some more music after this, but if there isn't, you know, we've dropped the mic as we left the stage.
Yeah, man, because I mean, I received it a couple of weeks ago, and I had a little fear of listening to it because I don't know. I have such a respect for your art that I'm afraid that if I don't like it, I will be like, oh, damn, this is not like I was expecting. But at the end, I conquered my fears. And when I listened to it, it was like, it blew my mind away. I mean, it's maybe one of your best.
Well, I guarantee that 5 years from now, you'll think it's better than it is right now.
Yeah, man, I can bet on it. Yeah, definitely. Because it's such a piece of music craft. It is such a piece of art that it deserves to be shared. It deserves to be listened to by a lot of people because it's metal. It's what metal should sound like because it's the roots of every other subgenre that you're listening to. You can track death metal, doom metal, speed, any kind of metal. You can track their sound to the roots of heavy metal, and it's like it is the sound that you have in this album.
Hey, that's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. So, Mario, I appreciate that. It's been wonderful talking to you. Please tell all your listeners, if we play in Mexico, please try to come out and see us play. We have a long history. We played in 1982 in Mexico City. Just amazing. So, I mean, I look forward to coming back and playing, and I hope to see all of my friends there. So,
yeah, man, definitely looking forward to having you here again, guys, because you will blow a hole in the sky. And if you don't mind, help me with the question for our next guest in Conversation from the Underground.
Okay. I've been thinking about this the whole time.
Yeah, I can see it. I noticed.
Okay. I have an avocado tree in my backyard.
Oh.
And we grow all the ingredients to make guacamole.
Yeah.
And my question for your next artist or actor or whoever it is what do they feel are the most important ingredients in the recipe for guacamole?
Great question, man. One of the best I have in the show.
Man, and I can send you the correct answer too if you contact me on Facebook or something.
Of course, man, I will do. I will. But I can guarantee you, I am Mexican, man. I know guacamole. uh, Robert, thanks a lot for your time, for your energy, the laughter. I had a blast of a time, and I'm sure all the haters who watch this video will be very grateful too. Thanks a lot for your time. Come, please, people, listen to the last album of Cirith Ungol, Dark Parade, because it's a hell of an album. Haters, eso es lo que tenemos en esta conversación desde el inframundo con Robert Garven, el baterista de la legendaria banda Cirith Ungol. Nos estamos viendo en el siguiente video. Por favor, cuídense mucho. Hasta luego. See you later, Robert. Thanks a lot.
Adios. Recuerdos a todos.